Good YouTube, Quinn Wade coming to y'all with that basketball analysis on analysisplayground.com. Sorry for the little steamy look, but it happens. Part of the how cameras get a chance to record and what time you upload in the day. Other than that, Kyle Anderson, Warriors agreed to a 3-year, $27 million deal. Kyle Anderson, the Golden State Warriors have agreed to that deal. The Warriors are sending a future second round pick swap in cash to the Minnesota Timberwolves as a part of the deal. The Warriors will use the traded pick exception from their Klay Thompson deal with the Dallas Mavericks to acquire Anderson. Anderson spent the last 2 seasons with the Wolves, being a decent rotation player, but he also was already signed to a 2-year, $18 million deal. Anderson was previously on a 4-year, $37 million deal. It started with the Memphis Grizzlies, and that was a decent deal. I don't feel like it's a question if he's a rotational player. It's something that he has proved. Even when you look at the last 79 games of last season, he averaged 6.4 points, 3.5 assists, and 4.2 assists in 22.6 minutes. He's not a guy that you're gonna, you know, bet on a lot, but he's a guy that can come in, run some point, handle the ball, hit some mid range, hit some threes, hit some push shots, and get in the paint from time to time, and get to the free throw line. He just a solid player that really understands his game and understands the game and really thinks the game at his own pace. That's what they call him, slow mo. He might play slow, but he's effective in what he does. And I obviously don't think that they need him to do a lot, either, to really make up this roster. But the Warriors needed some depth. They needed some length. They needed some type of ball handling, especially because they lost Chris Paul. And I think Kyle Anderson can come in and do that and still give them size. Miles Bridges and the Clippers have mutual interest in the free agent Miles Bridges. The Clippers would likely need to acquire Bridges in a sign and trade with the Charlotte Hornets. A trade for Bridges could include some combination of draft picks along with Norman Powell and Terrence Mann. Those players to me are better than Miles Bridges, but he's young, and once he gets his head on straight and gets his opportunity, he can be a difference maker for a contender if he wants to leave that way. But if he wants a team that can give him the most numbers, he could just stay with Charlotte, who's already mutual in keeping him. Bridges did average 21, 7 rebounds, and 3.3 assists this past season after coming back from his suspension. And it shows you that he got a lot of more game that he wants to show off. And he might even do it for a team that's better than Charlotte if they want to move him for a good enough deal to make them, release him to another team. Jonathan Isaac and the Magic agreed to a 5-year, $84 million renegotiated in a Sten contract. I think it makes a lot of sense because he hasn't been able to show what he really can do because of injuries, but he has the length, he has the size, he has the quickness, he's very agile, he's a guy that can be a great defender and a guy that can play multiple positions defensively, and a guy that can finish around the rim, make some shots on the perimeter potentially, especially as he plays more and gets more accustomed to his teammates. And he's some guy that can play a little bit of center too. But what really happened was they renegotiated and extended the contract of Isaac. He had 1 season remaining on his 4-year, $69.6 million deal that he signed in 2020, even though he really didn't play that much. But his potential was so high that they felt that like he was still worth investing in anyway, and obviously they continue to feel that way now. Isaac did miss 2021 and 2022 seasons due to injury while returning at the end of the 2023 season, and in 58 games last season, he did average 6.8 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 15.8 minutes, which is above average. Isaac is widely considered one of the NBA best defensive players, and why would you let that go, especially when it's mutual to keep him and you invested so many years in drafting him and keeping him in the first place? You might as well see what he really can do for you and see can he give you some untapped potential this year. And the worst thing he can do is up his trade stock because he's still on a tradable contract, even if it's this one, which is the $84 million. I think there's no lose in this type of deal. Is the worst case scenario, you get a guy that people still going to be interested in. Best case scenario, he becomes the most tradable player on your roster, and you can move him for pick swaps, or even a player that you want, or you can just keep him and get the best out of this young growing team, and y'all can become contenders with him under a decent contract for a couple years. Donovan Mitchell is in a similar situation where he agreed to a 3-year, $150 million extension. He's already been an All-Star, already been an All-NBA caliber player. He meshes well with this team because they have shooting with him and Garland and Monty Bates and those guys, Matt Strus. They also have Evan Mobley for the inside scoring alongside Jared Allen, a rim protector with another rim protector, guys that can play and clog up the lane for people not being able to get there and making it difficult for them to try to score in the paint and making them more perimeter players. And Donovan Mitchell is one of the most explosive guys that can play, you know, this push basketball, which always means so he's coming at you, whether he's coming off a screen, whether he's going downhill, or whether he's looking to facilitate and find guys that's open. And Garland can complement that well because he can shoot off the dribble and he can also score as a spot-up shooter, which is why they have done so well in the Eastern Conference. And they also have depth to this roster too. So they're not that far from being a contender. If not, they might just be considered a contender just because they're in the Eastern Conference. But this is a team you can't sleep on. They're very dangerous. They're very explosive. And they have a lot of weapons, you know, especially when they continue to figure out how to play basketball, the fast way, the slow way, and figuring out what guys should be doing in these certain situations. It just makes them a better team. It took them a while because this trade came out of nowhere a couple years ago, and now this is really a situation where people believe that they can be competing for titles as soon as this year that's coming up, as long as they can stay fully healthy, which they clearly wasn't. Donovan Mitchell got injured. Obviously, Jared Allen got injured, and that helped, you know, them not reach their ultimate goal. But we'll see what they do. But other than that, it'll just give them an opportunity to even pursue a 5-year extension in 2027, where Donovan Mitchell will still be young enough, even if he's in his early 30s, to still be a difference maker because his game ages well and is obvious because he shoots so well. Worth more than $380 million when he occurred his 10 years of service. It gives him a bump because of that. Other than that, the only thing that was a downside was losing J.B. Bickerstaff, who was a coach that they really liked as a young team. And just remember, Cleveland did acquire him from the Utah Jazz as a part of that future first round picks, and Laurie Marketing and Colin Sexton was guys that was involved in that deal. And Mitchell is represented by Ty Sylvan and Austin Browns of CAA. The deal was agreed upon on Saturday, but the sides waited till Tuesday to reveal that this is how the contract actually going to be. Xavier Tillman, Celtics agreed to a 2-year deal. We don't really have the numbers on that. We do know that he did average 4 points, 2.7 rebounds, and 1.1 assists in 13 minutes. He can defend a little bit. He can make some type of shots. He can rebound solidly. And he also is a guy that can set decent screens. We are also waiting on DeMar DeRozan. He may sign a 1-year deal. Some people saying that he might do it just because more teams will have more cap space next year, and he can get a lucrative deal next off season instead of waiting to do it this off season, as it is mostly dried up, especially when he was a guy that wasn't fully sure if he wanted to become a free agent. But other than that, that's all on DeMar DeRozan. Monte Morris and the Suns agreed to a deal. If you're going to lose Eric Gordon, you might as well replace him. Monte Morris is a scoring guard that gives them shooting, gives them a guy that can get to the basket. Not the greatest shooter, more of a scorer, I should say. But 5 points, 1.7 rebounds, 2.1 assists is decent, you know, in the 33 games that he played last season. That's why they gave him a roster spot. The Magic also bring back Mo Wagner. They agreed to a 2-year, $22 million deal. I feel like this is a decent deal. You don't really want to overpay, even though he did play in 80 games last season. He did average 10 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist in 17 minutes. That's above average in that type of production to be a double-digit scorer while not being big. on minutes, I feel like that's something that you like to see if you the Magic, and that's somebody that has good upside as you done seen, you know, this year and hopefully the next years that he's still under contract. And I think I would definitely like to see more of that. Just remember the Cavaliers are unlikely to trade Darius Garland. Market not currently robust for him. So that means there's not enough good deals for him to really even be considered by the GM that he has, or the owner, or the manager that he has, as even something that they will even entertain with the GM. And James Wiseman and the Pacers did agree to a 2-year deal. That's something that's new. Clippers offer Paul George less guaranteed money than Kawhi Leonard. That could be a reason why he didn't come back, but I don't think they was doing too much anyway. Jonathan Kuminga's second apron implications were sticking points on Warriors. Clipper talk for Paul George, why it didn't really work for the Warriors or the Clippers. You don't really want to bring back too much money to be paying for a team that's in the conversation to be a contender, but not reality, as we see better teams in the West and in the East than those teams currently constructed or previously constructed based off how the playoffs brackets ended up working out by the end of the season. Mo Bamba and the Clippers did agree to a 1-year deal. Same with Colin Gillespie, he agreed to a 2-year deal. Chris Dunn will be going to the Clippers. He agreed to a deal. He's a solid defender. Mo Bamba is a little all over the place, but he has the length and the size to rebound and protect the rim a little bit, and he's not that expensive. Colin Gillespie is just a combo guard that can score a little bit. Gary Harris and the Magic always do this, but they agreed to a 2-year, $14 million deal. He still has okay scoring ability. He still has decent finishing ability depending on the matchup. Getting a little older, but it's good to see him still in the NBA. Same with Garrett Temple. I think that's something that I mentioned on the last one. He agreed to a 1-year deal, and that's really about it. That's new, besides the fact that Donovan Mitchell is the biggest guy besides Kyle Anderson getting the bag. And I think the next one, if it's not going to be DeMar, it might just be a guy like Miles Bridges that has the ability to burn some bridges and see the other side. And obviously Jonathan Isaac, going from a guy that we know as hardcore NBA fans, getting the big bag of 84 million and still having his chance to become a star in this league is something that we all look forward to see if he can or he can't do it. It's just going to be interesting because of that. Other than that, comment, like, subscribe, and share. Hit the notification bell for more analysis in the future. And if you like some more now, it gives it to you right away. If you subscribe, it also does it that way. You can click it when you want to. And I'm happy just to have all you watching and enjoying what I think. Other than that, see you guys later.